to another episode of Roll or Die. Today we have an absolute treat for you. If anyone was watching Nogi Worlds last month, they would have seen that the Australian women dominated, 4 gold medals, and today's guest had 2 of them.
Wow.
She won her weight division in the purple belt, and she won the absolute division in the purple belt. I don't actually think she had any points scored against her in all of her matches. She won all of them by submission. Oh, one advantage. Okay. And today we bring to you Nora Schultz. Thanks for joining us, Nora.
Hey guys. Amazing.
Yeah, and she's come to us all the way from Texas, where she's training with the B team. So yeah, we're going to have some fun today and find out a little bit more about her and find out about how things are going there. So yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, awesome. What does it feel like? I mean, is it just another comp, or is it like are you on cloud 9? How do you feel?
It was interesting because the evening after it happened and then the next morning, I felt like a completely different person. It seemed like such a big deal. I was like, what just happened? Like just completely baffled by the reality of that tournament. Yeah. And then, day after and then the day after that and traveling back home home to Texas right now and then training again. I was like, okay, cool, I guess I'm still me, like nothing.
But back to reality, you mean? So
absolutely, yeah. And I expect that to happen, but it just hit me really quickly and I was like, okay.
Really?
Yeah, so you can become a world champion, right? And then 2 days later you've got to deal with the rest of your life's problems, basically. So there's a 2-day for a world championship. I got it. Like, you can buy 2 days of bliss by being a world champion. Mm-hmm. I love it. Thanks for sharing that. That's awesome.
It feels good, I'd rather be the way that I am now than feeling that weird bliss state all around the clock. That'd be intense.
Getting back to Nogi Worlds, like, you just dominated, as I said. Well, let's have a look at some of your matches in a bit, but you did not had any points scored against you that I saw, and you just seemed to be in such a position of control at all times. Did you feel like that on the mat, or did you not feel? Did you think at times like, oh, hang on, whoa, I'm in trouble here, or anything? You never seemed to be flustered, or you never seemed to be anything going wrong.
Mm-hmm. There was one match in the open weight division where it took me a little bit longer to get to my good positions. I felt like in every match I got to the points that I wanted to get to, and then once I had started to score points and I was in a dominant position, I thought, okay, this is mine now. I can finish this, or at least win the match. There was one match where it took me a little bit longer, but even then I wasn't I didn't feel like I was frantic or losing concentration or anything like that. Like,
was that the semi-final? The semi-final of the Open?
Yeah, that would have been that one.
Yeah, I think that's the only one where I was like, she's not in a good position there. But what really struck me from watching you as well was the way that you could turn like an inferior position into a dominant position. It seemed like really quickly. I don't know, did you feel like that, or did it seem to you like, wow, this is taking too long, this is not good? But you just seemed like, I was like, whoa, she's almost being mounted here. Okay, this is bad. And then it was like, oh God, no, she's got that girl's back. I look away. I felt like I look away for 5 seconds and I'm like, oh no, she's all good now. She's good. So was that the case or no? Because it just seemed like, wow, how'd she do that?
You know what, like in that match, it did feel a little bit like anything could happen, but because we were sort of static in the bad positions, I felt like we were like slowly inching our way towards either me getting a better position or her getting a better position. It was like a little bit of a back and forth in one position. I felt like we weren't like moving through millions of different spots or whatever. That's why I felt like it was okay to just go bit by bit, and I felt like that's where I was gonna be okay. And in the other matches I felt like everything was pretty calm as well in that sense. So it felt good.
Do you mind if I just share my screen? Anton, do you mind if I just share the screen? As I'm a participant, you're the host.
Oh, sorry. While I'm doing that, also I'm interested. There we go. Multiple partners can share. So participants doing that. I don't know yet if you can share, Kim.
Let me try now.
So all participants.
I think I'm good.
So while Kim's doing that, Nora, like, are you you at the, like, in your mind, do you know what the secret sauce was for you? Like, why did you win this comp? What was it in your mind?
That's an interesting question. To be honest, like I did not feel all that different in my preparation. I was still doing the same things that I always do in my preparation, like thinking about where I want to get to and how to get there, like sorting out efficient ways of getting to my favorite spots of finishes, and then obviously working on whatever were the problems in my roles in the training room before that, like in that match, for example, I felt like I was stuck in bottom for a little bit, and that's sometimes, especially in Nogi, that's sometimes the areas where I don't want to be so much, so working on all those things. That my preparation was pretty much the same to how I usually prepare, but I sort of didn't feel any pressure going into the tournament. I really had the impression of whether I lose first round or second round, whatever, it doesn't really matter so much because nobody knows me, like there's really no expectation for me to win. And I just, like I didn't even really get nervous on the day. I just felt really, really calm, and I thought whatever happens, it's going to be the right thing to happen. Like if I lose first round, it's going to be exactly what I need at this spot in my journey, and if I make it to third round, I mean, that'll be amazing too, maybe that's exactly what I need. And then I just had a lot of fun out there, to be honest. It's just a lot of fun.
Freedom and fun. I love it. Freedom and fun. Your victory. That's so cool.
So good.
Am I screen sharing? Did you just see that?
Yeah, we can see that.
Yeah, cool. Because that, I was just like, wow, that's awesome. And it seems to me from watching that you really set up a lot of your positioning from the body lock. Would that be fair to say? Yeah. So can you talk about that? Is that something that's always been the way for your jiu-jitsu, or is it new?
No, it isn't. I mean, I tried to learn the body lock a little bit back in Adelaide, because there was a time where heaps of the coaches were sharing about it.
Yeah.
And I always thought that like a flattened out half guard for me personally always was the best position to pass off, and I always tried to just get there, and then from there I'd pass. And obviously now, like the higher the level gets, and like the more experienced the opponent is, they obviously don't want to let you get there. But just in the last couple of weeks here, a few of the coaches have been teaching heaps of body lock passing that kind of tied in with the half guard passing, and so it felt like I could just sort of implement it straight away. I was a little bit scared coming here, thinking I would just be fully overwhelmed, and everything would be too hard, like difficult techniques, everything too much. But that just seemed like something that would fit right into my game. And I've been asking a lot of questions about it, and I often mix up the things, like I apply the wrong concept at the wrong time, but I'm trying to wrap my head around it bit by bit. So that's been helping a lot. Yeah.
I just saw you there subbing that girl. That was amazing. Like, you looked like you were completely in control of that match.
Anton, she subbed everyone, and
amazing.
Just so, like, as I said, without any problems at all. It seemed to have no problems at all with
amazing.
So
I got a question for you about B team. Like are they all they crack up to be? Like, I'm sure they are, but I want to know the inside story. Like, how good are they really? What are you learning? What are you focusing on?
Oh man, first of all, they're all human, which is a good thing to know. Yep. I like, first of all, walking in there, I thought, wow, like all these people, like I keep watching them on TV, like not TV, but like on YouTube and whatever. And you hear so much about them. You see their Instagram and you think they're just, untouchable people, and then you walk in there and they just have a conversation with you, and they want to roll with you, and you can ask anyone anything at any time. That blew my mind. I can't believe that I can just walk up to someone and they take time and answer me a question. And, like the next day I can ask the same question, like someone who has no idea that they've asked them before. And, they'll still take the time. It's really, really cool. And, I had a local matchup here just like 3 weeks into being here, and everybody just came out and coached me and supported me. It was really, really cool. So I think it's actually like a tighter community than I thought it was. And everybody's happy to help, which is cool.
Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, awesome. Something else that struck me as well, I think you put it up over the weekend about on your social media, that I think it might have been in either your semi-final or your final of the Open, you didn't have anyone to coach you, and so one of the opponents that you just faced and her coach coached you. which I just think is so awesome. Like that sort of sums up a little bit, I guess, what we're trying to do here with RoD, like with the community and things like that. But it just really made me feel really nice. Tell us about that.
Yeah, that was so cool because, I didn't know her at all, but I was sort of looking into my opponent's matches the night before. I had sort of looked them up.
We all do that. Yeah, you have to. I'm surprised you waited till the night before. Wow,
no, I did before that. But then this girl specifically, once the brackets were up and I knew, if I made it past the first round, I would have the second round, probably. Because she would have probably won her match. She had like an amazing pants run. I just saw that on Flow Grappling. There was match after match. And I think she was seeded number 2 or something like that. So I was intimidated the night before. And I thought, damn, this girl's going to be really good. Watched her matches, saw she doesn't pull guard. She just wrestles, like her opponents stand with her for a long time as well. And I was like, God, it was like I have not spent enough time trying to wrestle, like and then
it didn't look like that on the what I saw. I was actually going to ask you if you've got a wrestling background because you seemed very capable on your feet.
I just thought I just have to send it now. I can't pull guard with her. Like I just need to do it now. And then I thought like the intensity and that I just went for it straight away. That was an asset. Not so much the technique, more just like going for it straight away.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. But she was awesome. We had a brief conversation after that match, but I had another match right after, so didn't really chat much more then. And then I caught her again in the open weight, and she came up to me after. She was like, this one lasted a bit longer. That was better, right? And I was like, it was so nice. We had like a cute little chat. And then she stayed outside and her coach was there. And it must have been the semi-final, I think. Somebody started coaching me halfway through. And I did not recognize the voice. I didn't know who it was. I had barely spoken to anyone there. And my teammates that were there with me, they hadn't done so. Their matches were already done. Yeah. And they were just sitting in the stands and they were cheering for me and stuff, but there was no one there to actually help me through the positions and whatever. And then they just started coaching me. And I came off the mat and I was like, who was that? Who just gave me all those tips? And they were actually really, really helpful as well, like things that I didn't see in the moment where I didn't know where to go. And they just helped me out. And it was so cool. I'm grateful. Like it was really cool to have that sort of experience.
So the first thing is like Kim and I normally compete in the Masters division. Kim's sometimes adult because she's still a weapon. But anyway, the bottom line, we're used to that in the Masters community, right? Everyone's very supportive, but we hear like in the adult comps, it's not that way. It's like kill or be killed. But
especially at Worlds, like
that's what I would have thought.
But no, and like that is really encouraging because I think a lot of people may have capability, but then it's just too intimidating. So to know that there's still that space at an elite level for pure sportsmanship, I love that. You know what I mean? The second, my question for you is like being coached by people who don't know you. Like, what is that like? Like cornered coach for people who don't know, because most people are probably used to being cornered by people who know them, who know their game. What's it like to be cornered? Is it just as valuable? Is it, what's that experience like?
Oh, that's such a good question. Leaving Australia, I was nervous. I thought maybe I couldn't ever win a match again without a coach. You guys have spoken to Lockie Conway before. He was on your podcast, and he's my coach in Australia, and he used to always go to every comp with me and always coach me, and he obviously knows my game. So I thought maybe that's the secret. Maybe you just need a good coach in order to win. But then coming here, I was nervous. I thought, no, it's not going to work out. I don't know. Having a few matches without a coach whatsoever felt okay at Worlds, and then having matches with someone that doesn't know my game but just understands jiu-jitsu felt really good as well. I think there's certain things that I don't pick up on in the moment, especially this one girl, she put me in a position that I don't really find myself very often, and I was starting to escape in the wrong way, and he just said, hey, no, hold on, this is the principle that you need to follow right now. And that's just something that anyone can tell you. That once you make a mistake, I feel like anyone who understands jiu-jitsu, they can correct you. It might be tricky if somebody tells you to say pass on the outside when all you do is pass on the inside. If you're just a pressure passer and then they tell you to throw by the legs, I don't know, like I'm not going to do that on the spot. But I guess in that moment you probably wouldn't go for that anyway, right? I think most competitors would stick to their A game in the moment. So maybe it's a matter of picking and choosing whatever you hear in the moment. But to me, that was really helpful. Yeah. Good question.
Awesome.
Yeah. I just want to take a minute to get on my soapbox a little bit here, because I don't know, Anton, you might not have heard, or Nora, you may not have known that at the week before Worlds, there was a lot of talk on the internet. There was, I think they're called Australian Grappling Federation or something. There's an organisation that's put out a competition for next year where they're charging, they're offering prize money for basically for everyone. However, for women, they only offered $1,500. For the men, they were offering $4,000, $5,000, masters, $4,000, everyone else. So there was a lot of controversy on that weekend prior, a lot of back and forthing about women's worth in the sport. And personally, I was just so chuffed that the following weekend, Australian women pretty much dominated at World Nogi. They, yourself, Adele, Nadia, we've had the other two on the podcast, all won gold medals. And I think even Flow Grappling came out and said the standout of the tournament has been the Australians. And I think by that they meant the Australian women, because I just felt like really proud. I don't know about yourself, that you guys pretty much like put on a show. So it's really powerful to see that. There was a lot of talk on that forum, you know, prior, saying that Australian women are not up to standard, and Australian women felt like they were sort of saying almost don't deserve to get the same prize money as men. But you guys have shown that not only are we worthy, like we really are like at that world level. Did you feel that out there, that our standard is we can match it with the best in the world?
You know, that surprised me too. I didn't know if we were going to do that well. But I'm so glad that happened, because it's so hard to argue with someone who says, you know, you're not up there if you can't prove it, right? And like you can say, no, like, you know, we deserve recognition too and whatever, but up to the point that you actually do it and you show, hey, you know, like we can put on a performance and you know, do that out there. I think it just backs up what everybody's been saying. And I feel like you guys, like lots of big women in Australian Jiu-Jitsu have already, big names, they're not big women, they're big names, have already, you know, like said a lot of cool things and put it out there and like kept the pressure on. So I think that definitely the conversation is there, right? And I'm just like, we could maybe play a little part in that, just, you know, backing up the performance.
That's it. And not only, sorry, Anton, not only Australian women, I think a statistic I heard was that of the black belt finals, there was 9 male black belt finals and 1 submission, 8 female black belt finals and like 6 submissions or something. I can't remember what number it was, but nearly all submissions by the women. So the women are going for it. And I think that's a sign that, like really we need to get more women onto these shows, onto the big stage, and show women, because the women are going for it.
Absolutely.
But for whatever reason, we're still second. We're still seen as being second to the men. So
my personal view is it will be about economics. And I think everybody, not everybody, but I think most people know women's MMA and BJJ is really exciting to watch. And like, with men and women, there's that kind of flexibility difference, I think, and, you know, maybe some strength, but like they're both really exciting to watch now. You know, and there's not a difference in level. I think there's a difference in participation levels. That's my personal feeling about the issue there. Also with Australia, we're a smaller country. So I'm always surprised that we do so well on the world stage. Like, I think like, I'm so impressed by you, because the people you get to train with is way less than the amount of the people you're competing against. They've got black belts all around them to train with all day long. You know, I think, do you live in Adelaide, or where do you live? Do you live
in Adelaide?
Oh my God, you live in a tiny place, right? And you're a world dominator. You know, it's super impressive. And I hope that our scene just continues to have more and more women coming in, because it's just awesome to watch. It's just so great.
Tell us a bit about your start. So you came to Adelaide by way of Germany, is that right? How did you get started in Jiu-Jitsu?
So I moved to Adelaide for an internship. I was studying at the time, and I just got this job. I was just going to stay for half a year or maybe a little bit longer. And then I sort of stayed for a year, and then it was pretty easy to extend for a second year, and I was really loving it. And with that, COVID came around, I just kind of stuck around. So I never actually wanted to move to Australia. It just sort of happened bit by bit. And within the first year or so, somebody took me to a jiu-jitsu class. And at that time, I was still pretty new, and I just really wanted to meet some people. I didn't know what it was. It just sounded like, to be honest, it sounded like a room full of big sweaty men in gis, just these random outfits. I don't know, I had no idea what the difference between taekwondo and boxing and I don't know MMA was. I had no idea of any of that stuff, but I just went because I wanted to do stuff and explore and whatever. And really liked my first session. There was a girl actually teaching the first class, and there would have been 2 or 3 other students, and it just all seemed really fun, and they were lovely people. And then I just kind of stuck around and just kept going, and I competed pretty early. I feel like you always hear this, people just jump into a comp after a few months of training and whatever, and I think it was the feeling of winning that got me first. I was like, wow, this is fun. I've never actually done anything competitive in my life, even as a kid, I was dancing, and I was doing social work projects and whatever. It was always oh, you're participating, you're already doing well, and then all of a sudden I was in an environment where you actually had to do something in order to win, and that felt really nice to me. And then I think as I kept going, I just really fell in love with jiu-jitsu itself and the way the body works, and how you can just overcome your own limitations, and also just learning something and then being able to apply it. Even though the first time you drill it, it seems like an absolute impossibility. I don't know. I feel like there's constant leveling up in jiu-jitsu. I think that's really exciting. I don't know if you guys feel the same.
No, true. No, very much.
Nothing with no top. And what about you look like you're about 24, 25. Is that, am I guessing?
Yes, I'm 25.
Okay, cool. So what's next when you're a world champ at 25? What's next for Nora?
I mean, it's purple belt, right? So my first day back in the gym, somebody said, Nora, you did it too early. Now you have to do it at brown and a black belt. What the heck? I was too quick. So obviously, I'm very aware of the fact that it's just purple belt. I go back to the gym and everybody beats me up every day anyway. So, it doesn't feel any different. I just want to get better at jiu-jitsu right now and see how far I can take it. And I was just as surprised as everybody else that I did well last weekend. Now I just want to keep learning, keep improving, and seeing what happens from there.
Yeah,
that's my big goal at the moment.
And Nora, I also saw you did the European trials for the ADCC with your German heritage. And do you mind if I ask, you competed in the medium heavy, but then you did under 60? Is that right? You competed under 60 kilos.
Yeah.
How did you get there? Because that's a lot for a female. Dudes can do it. Yeah, no problem. No big deal to drop that much. But that's 3 weight classes. How did you do that?
So usually I like to compete at middleweight. I was kind of teetering for this competition because I had a little bit more trouble with the smaller girls sometimes because their guards are so tight and all that stuff. And because I was on the edge anyway, I could have done either of the divisions. I thought I'll do the heavier one because I feel pretty strong most of the time, and they'll just have more gaps. It was sort of a strategic decision. I wasn't sure if that was the right one, but I think it kind of worked out. But at the time, when trials was first announced in Europe, it was supposed to be in Moldova. And then because of the war in the Ukraine, they canceled it. So I originally thought I was going to do it, and then I wasn't going to do it. And then when they announced the new date, it within somewhere between 8 and 10 weeks, I don't know, I was like, okay, I'm just going to go. I'm just going to do it. And I was almost 10 kilos over the 60 kilo mark. But I thought being a 70 kilo girl is a little bit small for the bigger bracket because they can be whatever, and then I got there and I was like, oh, they're not that big actually. But it just seemed like a big jump. So
it's crazy. 60 kilos is crazy for ADCC for women. That's
but I can be 60 kilos, it's not fun for me. I don't like to walk around it that way, but it's I don't have a big frame to the point that I'm a natural 80 kilo girl or whatever. So 60 was it was just a quick drop. Like I didn't give myself enough time to really get there properly. But then when I did, I was like, oh, this is all right. So yeah. And I think I want to do trials again, and I'm going to go under 60 again. So it's just a bit of a matter of planning out the year a little bit better and like knowing what I'm going to do at what stage. Yeah.
I'm fascinated to know how your English is so amazing. Like I presume how long, like did you study English at school? Like you speak English so fluently. Can you tell us a bit about your journey, like your educational journey and
I mean, they start teaching us early. So like by fourth grade or something like that, all the students start learning English. So there's definitely already like lots of classes in school. I always thought languages were really fascinating, and I learned French and then I learned Spanish, and I just thought like it was like really cool to speak a lot of languages. I always thought that was badass. I did spend a little bit of time in Canada for like a student exchange when I was 15, and then obviously the last couple of years in Australia. So, you know, when I'm really tired or really exhausted, I feel like I can't find my words so well, but most of the time I feel pretty comfortable in English.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you.
And tell us about the Adelaide scene, Nora, because like tomorrow or next week we've got someone also on from Adelaide. So it seems like it's a bit of a smaller town, but there's a lot of good jiu-jitsu coming out of there. What's going on in Adelaide?
I don't know what it is. You know, like
effect? Is that what it is? Is it the Jones?
Maybe. Yeah, that could be it. I mean, like Adam, who's still there, he's obviously like very, very interested in growing it. I think there's heaps of people there that just are really passionate about it. And what I like about the Adelaide scene is that there's a lot of cross training. Everybody sort of gets together, and there's like comps that are, you know, being held there, whether it's like the AFBWJ ones or like the M16 super fights and all that sort of stuff. Like everybody just sort of seems pretty interested in it. Yeah. I mean, I can't really compare it all that much to the other places because I haven't lived in them. But whenever I go to Melbourne or Sydney, it doesn't feel, you know, all that much crazier to me in terms of jiu-jitsu. Still feel like there's a lot in Adelaide. It's like, it's awesome. Yeah. Awesome. Have you guys ever trained down there?
Yeah, I've trained in Adelaide a couple of times. Cool. Yeah, I have. Yeah, but that was years ago, like 7-8 years ago. So I think it's in the past sort of 4 or 5 years, it's really had a renaissance. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. That's really cool. I think it's growing. There's still new gyms popping up everywhere, and I'm always surprised by the fact that, you know, they get new people. Like every gym that seems to open up seems to just really do well. I don't know if it's new people starting or if there's just enough demand as it is.
Maybe it's sort of small enough that you can get together and know each other. But now it's got enough people coming through that the level is rising. Maybe.
Yeah, that could be it. Yeah.
Because Melbourne and Sydney have the level, but we're so big that we don't know everybody. You can't cross-train as easily. Like you still can, but it's much further because Adelaide, everything's like 15 minutes away, like
exactly.
15 minutes from the city or 15 minutes from the beach.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Any longer and it's too far.
We've also been around longer, and I think that, to be honest with you, we have some politics issues in Melbourne. Like I really do. I know it, and it's a shame. And something I'm standing for that we don't, but you know, there's some old school people around who do not approve of cross training. So I'm fascinated to know about your lead up to the Worlds. Like, what do you do strength and conditioning wise, diet wise, these sorts of things? Like, do you have rituals, or do you just kind of, you know, talk a bit about that?
I am a bit wary of rituals because I don't ever want to think, oh, you know, I didn't have this thing, or I didn't do that thing or whatever, and now I can't perform well or whatever. So I try not to have any of that, and I try to keep everything as normal as possible. Even when I have like a training session, I try to almost prepare for it the same way that I would for a comp. And obviously, you know, like I care more about proper sleep before a comp, and I care about, you know, like having everything ready and stuff like that. Like I don't always have that in my daily life as dialed in as I would for a comp, for example. But generally, I think I just pretend that I'm in a training camp at all times. And it obviously makes it easier that I'm here right now, because at the moment I'm just here for jiu-jitsu, you know, like I'm in Adelaide, I was like going to class and then rushing to work and then going back to class and that sort of stuff. And here it's just about training right now, which is so nice. So I get to just do that all day. And that also means I haven't been lifting as much. back in Adelaide, I used to lift maybe like 2 or 3 times a week or whatever. I haven't been doing that at all here, or like just like maybe cramming in 1 session a week, just because I do so much jiu-jitsu right now. I don't know how people work out their split. I'm trying to like, you know, find a good balance at the moment, but I just can't bring myself to miss a class. You know, that's like the hardest part right now. You know, like, that FOMO just hits me so much, because I know that I'm not going to, that I won't be here for much longer. So I'm just trying to get as much of that as possible. And obviously, I mean, like the preparation, like all the learning and training, all that didn't just happen here. That all of that happened in Adelaide, right? I only spent like 4 weeks here or whatever before I went to Worlds. My big ambition coming here was to get a lot better, but also work out how big is the gap between Australian jiu-jitsu or my jiu-jitsu and then like the top girls here in the US, because I think the top girls are here. I guess like,
I think it's fair to say there's no gap. I think you've surpassed them.
Maybe, I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, my big thought was that I'd come here, I'd find out and then see, can I commit to jiu-jitsu? Is this what I want to do? And now I'm like, I guess I'm committed, you know, like I was committed before that, but I was like sort of holding back to the point that I was thinking, you know, if it seems unsurmountable, if I get bashed 24/7 and I can't even win a single match anywhere and I don't even know where to start, how to get better, then maybe I need to think about doing something different.
Yeah. Well, okay. I assert, right? Here's the thing. I'm going to go out on a limb here. I don't think everybody's experience of Worlds is the same as yours, right? My feeling is there are people at Worlds and they not only are they kill or be killed, but they attract kill or be killed around them, right? And those people in jiu-jitsu, that's fine. We need them. But I think people like you, like if you were to choose to commit yourself to jiu-jitsu, what you are a space of, it's very obvious because in this room, this is what you are for me, right? You're like love and happiness and fun and all of these good things. Right? So then when you're in a comp, everyone around you is that too. Like everyone's having a good time and fighting hard, right? If you are in jiu-jitsu, that's a great thing for jiu-jitsu. So I do hope that you find a way to commit to jiu-jitsu because, you know, whatever you're doing as a job at the moment, put that aside and like,
I talk like this, but I am absolutely committed. Yeah, 100%. This is what I want to do. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. No, thank you. Appreciate
I
that.
think also on the Flow Grappling, when they chatted with you, they mentioned that like you were under the radar. I guess in some ways you sort of have been, although in Australia you've been tearing it up. Anybody who's been watching the Australian competition scene would know your name and know that you have done, like, I don't think I've seen you lose in the matches that I've watched. As I said, it was the European trials where it was the only time I've seen anything go down. So yeah, you certainly are. Are there any super fights in the future for you coming up or whatever? If not, the promoters should get behind you and get you out there.
No, it's awesome. Everything that I've planned now happened before I did well at Worlds. So it's really interesting that I just had the opportunity to like get all these matches already. But now December, it's obviously Christmas time. Everything's slowing down here a little bit. But then in January, I've got 4 weeks left before I need to leave. And I've got 4 super fights. So 1 for each week. And I'm really excited. So they're cool ones. Yeah, I'm excited to do those. And then as I come back to Adelaide, I've got 2 super fights coming up. One's going to be in Gold Coast and one's going to be in Perth. So I'm really excited for those 2. And then I'm just going to try and see what other comps I can fit in.
Yeah. Calendar. Woo! That's exciting.
Yeah, that's so exciting. I love reading.
Yeah.
It's cool. Awesome.
It is, and it helps sort of raise Australian profile and maybe the level of Australian women's jiu-jitsu. So yeah, it's fantastic for everyone. Like, yeah, I think, as I said earlier, what that conversation that was had about women competing, like, it was fantastic for me just to see you sort of stick it up them and show like, hey, look at what we've produced. And you might be German, but hey, we want to claim you as one of ours, please.
I love that. I love that. I now only do jiu-jitsu in Australia, so my jiu-jitsu is completely Australian. Yes.
Awesome.
We can claim that.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. We are running out of time. So we do have 3 minutes, 57 seconds left. But what's important to you to get out there into the jiu-jitsu world? What would you like? Is there anything you want to talk about?
I want to say thank you, because I think everybody's been really encouraging and positive I know there's politics in jiu-jitsu. I've barely felt them. For me personally, it's all been like a really good experience. I'm grateful that people have invested so much time in me and like encouraged me along my way, and that's been really, really cool. I'm also grateful that you guys take the time. I mean, that's pretty cool. Yeah, and that I can be here right now. I mean, like all those things, they mean the world to me, you know, like for me, being able to do this, I never looked at myself as an athletic person, and I never thought I'd do something, you know, so far from the norm of like the more general life, and I'm really grateful. Like I'm just enjoying this journey right now. I'm just trying to soak it up as much as I can.
Yeah, please do. Well, we've got a couple of others already recorded to release week by week, so yours might not be out until almost you've done even one or two of your super fights into January, to be honest, but when it comes out, please do share this. We'll have it out in a couple of weeks, and have fun with the B team. It sounds like an amazing time.
Thank you.
Put in a good word for us, hey, with some of them. I've been hitting them up, asking them to come on. Isaac, Michelle, Craig. Obviously, I think we're too small fish for Craig. I don't think he wants to talk with us anymore. He's moved on.
Craig's
from
dog. Does Craig have a dog? We'll take Craig's dog. Anything at all. It's fine.
No. But yeah, thank you so much.
Craig's rash guard on the show.
That's how it works. I get
it. What is it like? Hey, just quickly, we've got a minute or two to chat about being a female there. Are there many girls training with the B team? Because I mostly see them as dudes.
I was concerned about that, but there's a handful, and they're really, really good training partners.
Okay.
It almost feels like because there's fewer of us, we stick together and we each other a lot. And there's a few visitors always coming in as well, you know, like for like a week or so. So there's actually like more female training than I thought there was.
Very good. Very good. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you once again for taking your time.
Thank you guys.
And we will look forward to seeing you, as I said, tearing it up around the world on the competition scene, and then back in Australia when you come back. So thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. Appreciate your time.
See ya. Bye.
See ya.
Bye.